I'm Chad Sparks, in the community. And today we find ourselves at a unique place. As a matter of fact, it's a place that a lot of people have actually visited and been to. It's the OSF Medical Group. And right here where we're at, they would take care of patients through primary care. Obviously, they have their home care office, which we'll be talking about quite a bit today. So here we are in a classroom in this very building that we've just discussed and talked about. And again, what I'm seeing you're not seeing. A lot of things that have to do with the healthcare industry, and it's kind of exciting to be in a place like this. Today we're excited to have our guest, someone who is an expert in hospice care and someone who can teach us, the community, a lot about what they do. Please welcome, without any further ado, our friend Michelle Jackson, the manager of the Eastern Region Hospice for OSF Healthcare. Did I get that correct?
That's correct, yes.
You've been here 11 years.
That's right.
3 years as manager.
Yep, and before that I was case manager. I was a nurse in the field seeing our patients. And
we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
We have to do this. So you were a nurse in the field, so you've actually been in the throes of it. You've seen both sides of it.
Absolutely, and in my position, I'm fortunate enough I can still go out and see patients from time to time, and or do joint visits with my nurses on difficult cases. So yeah, I'm still out there.
I think it's safe to say we brought the right person in. We always love when we get to talk to someone who's actually done both things, and certainly you have been in the, you've been in the field, you've been in the, obviously in the management position for 3 years. We're excited to be able to talk to you today. Michelle, we have a lot of questions. Now, you gave me this. This is, I'm not carrying this as a prop more than anything. This has a lot of information. I'm going to begin with this because you would tell me that anyone that you meet with is going to get all of this information regarding hospice care.
Correct. Yeah, that's a referral packet, and that has a lot of good information in it. There's a lot of myths and misunderstanding of what hospice care is and what it means to our patients. So we use that as an opportunity to have it in writing, but we also talk and speak to it during a referral visit. So we can go to the home and educate the family about what their options are at a certain point of life in their care. So.
This is amazing, and by the way, it's thick. Like I'm going to get my workout holding this today. Yeah. But a family would receive this, and that is great. Well, I want to ask you a few questions because, again, our goal when we come into the community is to learn about the various entities, organizations, and groups that are out there to serve our community. Certainly, you guys have a major play or a major role in that. Let me begin, and again, we want to make sure we ask these questions, and again, what we ask we hope will resonate with the viewers. Let me ask you this first, and I have a litany of them. Are you ready?
Yes,
You're going to feel like you're getting drilled here. All right. How many regions does OSF Healthcare cover?
We cover 9 regions, and that's including the OSF Richard L. Owens Hospice Home in Peoria.
Which I'm going to talk to you about.
Yes, that's a very special place in our hearts and for our patients. And then here in our Eastern region, for patients, we serve about 70 to 100 patients at any given time.
And you're in the Eastern region, so and Bloomington Normal falls into that.
Right, and Pontiac's our next largest population. Goes with St. James and St. Joe's Hospital, and we do get patients from St. Francis, from Peoria, which isn't too far away. But our region encompasses all of McLean County, parts of Livingston, DeWitt.
That's a big area.
Yeah, it's a lot of coverage, but we have a lot of good nurses, and they all live throughout the region, so we try to assign the nurses closest to our patients. And
well, and for those who are watching, they would feel comfortable knowing that even if they're not in the region, maybe someone that they know and love are in the region.
Right, exactly, or our neighboring affiliates would be able to pick them up.
So Michelle, what are the differences between, and again, I hope I'm going to say these correctly, home health, outpatient palliative care.
Correct.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. I've always wondered if I would say that correctly. Okay. And then hospice, 3 different things, but all interrelated.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're all under the home care umbrella. We all go to patients' homes and take care of them at their home setting. Home health has different goals with their patient. Their goal is to do rehabilitative services, so they will have speech therapy or PT, OT come to the home to help them get back on their feet and get them up and moving again.
Can I ask you about that? So typically you might see that in a situation, and I don't know, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I know, but maybe like from a stroke patient, someone who's suffered that way?
Right, exactly. Generally they're elderly, they're homebound, and they don't want to go to a nursing home for rehabilitation, but they, or maybe they do go to a nursing home for rehabilitation, but they still need additional care and they want to go home, so they can just continue that service in the home setting.
Boy, what an amazing setting that would be. That's great. Okay, yeah. And that's something I didn't know. Okay, tell us about outpatient, I love saying this word, palliative care.
Yeah, so that's a little bit, some people call it a bridge. It's not quite a bridge, but it is for patients that are chronic but not terminal. They're for patients that are maybe end-stage COPD, or they're cancer patients seeking treatment like chemo, but they need additional help in the home. That APN is there to go to the home to meet the patient where they're at and help provide services for them there. They also have social work and spiritual support for a chaplain.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And it's in addition to like a home health service. They can have both.
So you can actually have, and sometimes you do have both.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good teamwork for them to have both. So they may be getting, like I said, for that example of that cancer patient that needs support from the palliative care nurse to maybe come check on symptom management, but they're also getting therapy from home health, so they can get stronger to do more chemo, whatever their goals are. It's more to get rehabilitative.
You just forced me to ask a question. I'm curious about this. So with regards to that, and you mentioned this, and I find this interesting. So someone who maybe is suffering from cancer and is being treated with chemotherapy, they couldn't get that treatment at home? Is that accurate?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but essentially, those who are being treated with chemotherapy in the hospital or in a medical setting would be at home, and then they can get further treatment.
They would get support at home.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. And maybe I didn't know that, so I'm assuming maybe others didn't as well. That's great.
And then hospice is when you've decided not to seek further treatment. So that's when chemo's been exhausted, or even heart failure or Alzheimer's. There's many diagnoses that are at the end stage. That's when we would come in. We can take care of patients in the home, in the nursing home, assisted living. We go to the patient and essentially try to provide the best care we can to end of life.
Well, we know you do. We hear that a lot. So you're always highly recommended and highly regarded in the community. And we recognize that OSF does this. I mean, this is a really distinct trait that people have to do this kind of work, because you're in the midst of difficult times and you're enduring with the patients who are struggling and persevering. So we get that. That's a tough thing. And Michelle, you have a special set of skills that allow you and your team to do that.
Right. It is a different mindset and different part of being a nurse.
Sure.
We're not in the hospital ER trying to cure or help with trauma. We're here as a support to end of life and to help patients cope and support them along the way and along their journey.
You set up my next question. I think you answered it, but I have to ask, when you go and you hand them this packet, you're meeting with the family, what's the goal that you have for that family?
Our goal is to help them meet their goal, is to have a comfortable death wherever they want it, if it's at home. We're Medicare reimbursed. It's a national program.
That was a question I was going to ask.
So we can provide essentially everything that you would need in the home to take care of the patient safely and comfortably. Our team can come in. We train the family on how to take care of their loved ones. We can have visits daily if we need to. Generally, we start out twice a week just to make sure their symptoms are managed. Our goal is just to keep them comfortable.
Okay.
And
that's a great goal.
Yeah, exactly. And just, if there's any other things that we can do to help support some final things in life that they'd like to do, we can help support that too. Because like I said, we're a national program with Medicare, so we can, if a patient has a goal to go to the beach, we can do a travel contract with a hospice agency on the beach. And then if they can travel there safely, we can help arrange that so that they have a hospice agency at their end stop to
Michelle,
be there just in case, or until they can come back. So
we're a long way away from the beach.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but you can do this.
But we can make
That's
travel
amazing.
contracts happen.
Okay, all right. Well, wow.
People have all kinds of goals. One wanted to
things we didn't know.
just see his last harvest. So, we try to get the right wheelchair to help him get into a truck so he could safely go. Oxygen, portable oxygen, things like that. We want to support, and it's more about living and having the best days that you can. We know this is a difficult time, and there's not going to be anything we can do to maybe alter it, but we can make the journey of the way not so bad.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here. That's an amazing story. Yeah. And I'm sure you have a million of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the team that we have to support the family, it's not just about the patient, it's about the family. It's very holistic. We have the nurses, of course, that come. We have bath aides that can come and assist and train the family how to care for someone that as they become immobile. We have spiritual support, so we have a chaplain. And he's, a lot of people say, well, I have a chaplain. Well, our chaplain specializes in end-of-life care. So
he would understand this maybe for someone who wouldn't have been in that situation.
Right. We do, a lot of life reviews. A lot of people have questions and just different things they may want to discuss. It's non-denominational, but where there's a counselor even to just have someone that understands. And then we also have bereavement services, which is our bereavement coordinator. She meets with people one-on-one. She'll meet with families, with kids, and then they actually follow our patients 13 months after the patient passes with cards. We do have support groups for families, but it's during and after that she provides support. We also have volunteers, and we have a wonderful pool of volunteers that our coordinator lines up.
I was going to have to ask this. I mean, this is in the community. So, I think when I talk about your team, I always think that your team would be rather large, but maybe it's even bigger than what I could imagine. Because I think we would look at it and say, well, this is a hospice team of maybe 4, 5, 6 people. That's not accurate.
We have 10 nurses. Day shift, and then we have night call coverage too. So we have a triage number 2 for families. If something happens at 2 a.m., they call our triage nurses, and if they can't help over the phone, they'll send our night nurse out to do a face-to-face visit with them.
Okay.
Wherever they're at. So, we're available 24/7.
I would hate to even try to guess how many people are involved, from chaplain to nurse to individuals who are on call, but this is a large group of people. And so when we're talking about it, I think our line is it takes a community to do this. Yeah. It really does.
It does. My team is about 24, and then we have our volunteers is 25 to 30. They come and go. We have some snowbirds that come and do office work, but then we also have patients that have volunteers or veterans, especially that a few of them that like to go out and just visit their patients. And so volunteers are limited somewhat in that they can't feed a patient or toilet them, but they can sit with the patient. They can do errands for the family. We had one that walked a dog for every day because
that sounds like fun.
So they're
as long as it's a nice dog,
just to provide support for the family.
That's great.
We also have social worker, and they're the ones that we rely on heavily too for final arrangements and things like that. So they're the ones that we, if families don't know what funeral home to use, or they need help with FMLA paperwork, or they have community needs like food deficiency, they're directing to the food pantry or piecemeals. So they're our biggest community resource.
And that falls under, getting back to the community, that falls under the roof of everything related to OSF healthcare. Mm-hmm. Everything is contained within this organization. That's an amazing thing. And again, you think about it in the various tentacles that OSF Healthcare has, and the region it covers, it's a large group of people with a large skill set.
Yeah, and a lot of resources. And our team knows who to reach out to in the community. We work closely with the VA. We have a nursing home that's contracted for our veterans. So we can certainly help with transition from home to nursing home if needed and provide that support.
Michelle, you allowed me a quick segue. We're going to do this, and this is going to feel like a plug, and it's not, but it is a means to help our community. Michelle, you mentioned you work with the VA. We do as well. We have just introduced a new program called the VIP, Veterans Information Program. Okay. And as part of that, we want to make sure and educate and help all of our veterans and their loved ones and family members to access information that they may not have readily been able to get. So we'll put that on the screen so you can see, you can go to our website and see that as well, and certainly we can work in conjunction with that. I do want to make mention, we mentioned the Richard, and I hope I get this right, the Richard L. Owens
Hospice Home.
Hospice Home.
In Peoria, yes.
Everybody talks about it. It's in Peoria, but everybody talks about it. So can you just give me a brief synopsis of what this is?
Sure. So the hospice home isn't meant to be to stay from beginning to end of hospice services. Sometimes if we have patients at home that we're having difficulty managing their pain at home, or anxiety or restlessness, we can transport them to the hospice home where they're managed 24/7 by a physician and nursing staff there, and then they get them stable. with med adjustments or whatever and send them back to their home. 'Cause
Oh, nice.
most people's goal is to die at home. Not everyone. Some people don't want to be at home, but we try to meet that goal. It's like we can do a lot of things in the home as far as medications and getting orders to teach the family how to take care of them, but sometimes cancer pain is very difficult to manage, or it's just we're struggling, so we'll send them over to the hospice home and we provide the transportation there and back. They usually stabilize them in less than a week sometimes, and then they come home. That's our goal.
We've heard it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
We've talked to people who have gone and come back and said, you can't believe how nice it is. And it's just another thing offered by OSF Healthcare.
Right. And
wonderful.
Again, yeah, and it is all covered by hospice, Medicare benefit. So.
Are you ready for a test? I'm going to do this. We're going to,
Sure.
and I'm putting you on.
I'll try.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the clock here. So here we go. All right. As a nonprofit, and again, we know that you're a and this is a nonprofit, faith-based organization. I love saying that. That makes me feel even better about what you guys do in the community. What is, and again, I can't believe I'm testing you on this. What is your mission statement? And again, and that coincides with the things that you do in the community, because I think they tie in, right?
Yes. At the bottom line is we serve with the grace, care, and love, and that is the heart of all of that they do. And it's to be a provider in a hospice setting is different, and it does take a different kind of staff training. They have to have that hospice heart that we call it, that can meet the needs of the patients and still be effective at their job clinically, and support the patients and family and provide the most comfortable, peaceful death that we can offer.
You passed the test.
Thanks.
You did great.
I did.
That was I did. I put you on the spot there. We talked about your team. We talked about what you provide and what you do. You taught me about the difference between outpatient palliative care, hospice, and then what was my third one?
Home health.
Home health. And
Yes.
and I feel more enlightened now. Like I understand these things a little better than I did before, and that is because you know your stuff. Let me ask you this. What is the best way, and we're going to put this on the screen for everyone as well, what is the best way to reach OSF Hospice? What do you recommend?
There's several ways. A patient can even self-refer. You can tell your doctor. If you're in the hospital, you can request a referral, but you can just pick up the phone and call 309-451-5925 and say you want to talk to someone about hospice, and we can take it from there. We have medical directors that follow our hospice patients, so we can get orders from them directly, and they work very closely. They understand the urgency and the timeliness of medication adjustment request orders that they need, so they're available to us all the time. And but yeah, if you have any questions, it's just a phone call.
OSF Healthcare is so massive, and yet it feels like they're so close to the community. And that's the thing. When I ask you how do we reach you, and Michelle, you say just call this number.
Just call this number.
Yeah, it's a landline. And it's in this building, correct? I mean, when they call
it calls our triage line and they get it right to me.
There we go. Okay.
I was going to say, with our nurses living everywhere, they are in the community, and a lot of times we take care of not just one family member, but several. And so a lot of times a lot of our staff has been around for quite a while, so they don't always ask for just OSF, they ask for their nurse Tina or Julie, because
great.
They know what kind of good care they're going to get.
We would, just to let everybody know, we would have asked for Michelle. So yes, and you still make house calls. So this is amazing.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we truly are grateful. We're grateful for the partnership. So I have to share this, Michelle. You may or may not know this. So many years ago, we started hosting an event called the McLean County Senior Expo. It's sponsored by Calvert and Metzler Memorial Home. Before COVID, we had I believe it was a year of 13 straight senior expos. COVID kind of messed that up, but we're going to be coming back, and we'll be back not this year, but likely in 2023 is what we're shooting for. Okay. But we had the opportunity to really get close with OSF Healthcare during every year during the expo. And one thing that we noted is we used to laugh when you would come set up because you were so thorough, your entire group. But the one thing that we noted was everybody seemed to flock and have so many questions that your staff, your group was able to answer. And you could watch people leaving with smiles on their faces, literally because you answered all their questions.
Yeah, a lot of our job is just reassurance. When people are in that actively transitioning stage from like curative treatment to not curing, it's hard to stop to like not have to look at lab numbers. We're not chasing numbers, we're looking at your comfort. And a lot of it is normal, part of dying, and they may not have heard that that's normal. They don't know what normal is. So a lot of our job is just reassurance. It's like, yeah, this is what happens, and that's why it's better to call us sooner than later. That way we get a chance to know you and your team. So when things do start changing rapidly toward the end, we're already in place. You know us. We trust each other. We know that home environment and know that patient. So like I said, a lot of our job is just reassurance that this is a normal part, and we just let things happen in God's time, and we're there as a support during that time.
I love that, and perfectly put. And once again, I want to make note. I've held on to this for our interview. This has all that information and then some. Certainly, when you meet with them, they're going to get this packet. They're going to have the opportunity to speak with someone like I have been able to speak with someone today, and that someone is a very special person for us and a partner in the community. Michelle Jackson, thank you for your time spent with us today. We are grateful, and I think this information is going to help everyone that views this video. Certainly, we want to thank OSF Healthcare. What OSF Healthcare does for our communities in the means and the ways of which they care for patients, going above and beyond what people think of a traditional hospital to do. You guys have mastered it. We are grateful to everyone who has been part of OSF Healthcare. You know what I'm talking about. Michelle, you represent a great organization and a great facet of that organization. Thank you for allowing us to interview you today. Thanks for being part of our community. We are grateful.
Thank you.
And to everyone who views, thanks for tuning in. We'll look forward to seeing you the next time in the community.